So I'm testing out my old camera, which I have no idea how old it is. It's pretty old. Northern Brewer in Canada is going out of business. I did pick up, I'd made this before all grain, but I got a Caribou Slobber kit, which I'm going to use my liquid malt extract with amber. They said their grains were packed in 2018. I'm saying, I think it's the 4th month, so April 10th, 2018, and we're in September 2019. So, and I just got this. This is so not fresh. I'll be trying a different method. I'm not going to use a muffled bag. I'm actually going to use my hop strainer and throw the grains in that, and then it's easier to dump out and reuse. Again, for my hops, I'm also going to probably do a 30-minute boil and not an hour, just because I can. So I'm going to see how this is, and I'm going to get my brew going. As I can't see what's actually being filmed, I have some kind of concoction that I made. It's like chicken and rice, and I put cactus and beans and cheese and everything in there. In my cask, cooking in the oven on a super hot day in September here in Canada. That was over 30+ degrees Celsius, which is, I don't know, 90 something Fahrenheit, something like that. I'm going to get some water, then I guess I'll get to doing the steeping. Oh, and I also have to pull the beer off that yeast cake, because I'm using that Kveik yeast yet again for this brew. So I keg all my beers, so I'll use about half of this priming sugar, and I'll prime the keg, and then the rest I'll just throw this in the brew. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I'm pouring the water in. Just got it out from my tap coming in just from the city through my filter. The water is still really cold. Not sure how much I'm going to put in. That's probably enough. I already had some in before. It's up to here. This is a 5 gallon, and after I add everything else, I want to be able to top it up with water to cool it down faster. So, and wait 1 second. New big addition. Finding using so many hops, especially if they're leaf hops. Not even point at using one of these, but night and day. I haven't used this yet, so this will be the first one going. I might actually add some grains to this too. And again, I'm going to hack the recipe. I don't care, because it's still going to make beer. So let's throw that in. Now look, it doesn't even need clips. So first go, for now, I'm going to open this over the sink. Okay, not too much of a mess. And now, I'm just going to dump these old mill grains in. Just like that. I'll let you have a look-see. So they're just sitting in there. I'll get a stainless spoon that I have and mix that up. There we go, right there. Trying to think, yeah, I could probably throw some in. The color is right now dissipating in the water. You can see it's all turning pretty dark. So I know it's only going to have this much space, but that'll be enough. So I'm going to probably get some other grains and throw that in, and then I'll be back. So I have some pre-milled Caribou, which is light crystal. There's a pound of it here. I'm not sure if I'm going to put it all in. Just a bit, because again, it's not going to be sitting for hours. So, got the gas on, the old power burner. I'll just put I guess about half a pound. Again, this ain't rocket science. This is making beer for fun, and I know how to make beer properly too. As you've seen in my other videos. So, I'm going to let that heat up. Don't go past 170. Pull that out, dump it in the compost. Turn this on. Use my coffee press. Oh yeah, it's on the bottom. So I will set it to actually 153 and see what happens. See how long that takes. Okay, so it's recording again. I had some problems with it saying write error. I formatted the card and everything, so my mash is going here. It smells pretty good. It says it's 137. That is my dextrose in water, and that is this amazing meal I just made, which I'm going to have some of before I need to pull out the grains and get all this. Okay, this camera keeps saying write card error every time I try and film, so I have to take a picture. My thermometer started beeping, so it was hitting 153. So now I'm just going to let it sit. Let's say 15 minutes. Don't have to. I'm just doing that because, as you see here, this delicious, I don't know what it is, kind of rice, marinara, chicken, cactus, bean casserole that I made. I'm just having that, so I'll let that do its job and just sit there, and then I'll come. So every time I shut the camera off, it keeps doing that. So I'm done eating. It's still sitting at 152. So I'm gonna crank it up, pull the grains up when it hits 168, and then try and bring it up to a boil. Clean this out. So then I'll throw the hops in there, put in the LME, and I got some DME to put in there. I'll throw in that dextrose, and I'm going to mix the hops up a bit, but they're pretty much the same because bittering hops, who gives a shit? So here we go. Just grab me a home brew, which this is that brown ale I made the big batch of. This isn't the one in the Kveik yeast. You can see it is clear. This is from a different yeast. It really was just a yeast cake. It didn't come out as hoppy as I thought it would, but it definitely has its bitterness. Good body, very malty. You can taste some hops in there, but nothing's like punching at you because all the crystal malts and everything. You definitely get a thing and then a sure bitterness. So it is pretty good. I guess at some point I'll make a review on the one with the Kveik yeast, which I did drink almost half that keg already and then I stopped. So just wait for this to warm up. Pull out these grains. With the temperature at 167. You can see that from the glare. If not, whatever, I don't care. That's what it is. I am going to pull out those grains. These things are really fine, so I'm going to grab a random bowl, take out the thermometer probe, probably go bring that out to the sink to lift it up. Grab this thing, which is a little heavier. It is warm, it's not crazy hot. Say it's going to take a while to empty this out, because it's a very fine mesh. Pull the side that's got a rib on it. It kind of looks like a coffee press now once you finish your coffee grinds. You're only going to get so much in the end anyways. In the bowl she goes. I'll take that outside. You can see. I'm going to bring this up to a boil. LME is going to go in, and DME. Wait and see. Okay, so that was actually very easy to clean. Well, we'll stick it in now. I'll be using leaf hops. There's no sense, I'll use my homegrown halters to bitter it and use it for the first two hop installments, because it's supposed to be Goldings and I think it's Nugget, and Nugget's the same as Haltar anyways, and then Haltar, who cares about it? You're not going to taste the Goldings in the beginning for bittering anyways. And instead of Willamette at the end, I'm going to put some Fuggles instead, which Willamette's the American version of Fuggles, I believe. Just because I can. So this is almost coming to a boil. Hindsight, I might not want this in there. Just while I dissolve the LME and the DME, might cause a problem. Good thing if I thought of that quick. Guess I should show you. You can see it kind of looks like coffee. I even have my refractometer here, so let's see if it even got any sugar out of that. There it is. Guess I can let it cool. I'm going to have a big clang fest, so it currently says 10.5, so it picked up barely any, but that is a little bit, I guess, when it's supposed to be just, you know, specialty grains. So it's almost looking like it's at a boil now. So I'm going to go get my, so with my fingers super sticky, there is actually 1.5 pounds of dry malt extract there. Well, it's probably not good to put water on. Okay, so I know it is steaming. So I'll throw in this little bit of dextrose that I didn't use for my priming solution for that beer I have to keg, and I still have to clean a keg, put it in it. So maybe I'll make it a 45-minute boil just to give me more time, but I do have the cooling time, so who knows what I do. So I'm going to start with the LME. It might slow down the steam. So I know it's not that good of an angle for anything. So let's just pour and stir. And I'm just going to, for the dry malt extract, just going to dump it to the edge of the pan, gets stuck all in it. Yes, it will clump up, but it'll unclump. It'll just take time when it's boiling. Lots of smells right there. 1 ounce Haltar going in, pre-boil. So as you see there, I'm going to call that the start of the boil. And I decided on a 40-minute boil, just because I can. You can see it's getting a little more aggressive. If I have to turn it down, I will. Homegrown Haltar hops in there. It smells very chocolatey and rich. So apparently the pot didn't like this large thing displacing on how much it was on the bottom, so this is working so much better. It's not making as much noise and whatnot, just leaning on its side like that. Hops are all still getting covered. Beer's still going to be beer. 30 minutes of my boil left. I'm going to be adding another ounce of Hallertauer. So technically it's only 10 minutes in the boil. Oops, some leaks went in. Oh, some more did. Not working out so great on the angle. That's 5 minutes left of the boil, so I'm going to add those Fuggle hops, and then I'll get the spoon and push them in. The only default with this, leaf hops, they like to float up, but those Fuggles get to join the German hops. You know, they're made in Canada. Who knows where the Fuggles are made? Maybe England, who knows? They're all integrated. Now, I guess I'll shut it off. I might leave it like with these hops in it for so long, but not too long, so I want to cover it up in a bit of a water ice bath. And then it'll be poured into the carboy and topped up with cold water, which I still have to siphon the beer. I just went and cleaned the keg it goes in. Got some star stain in it right now. It's been the game. Make the beer on Sunday and transfer the beer out and throw another one on top of it. So less than a minute to go. I'm filling up the sink with some cold water. We're going to throw some frozen water bottles in with it after I put it in. Waiting to shut it off. With the beeping, that is point that, so off it goes, shut the timer off, carry this over there, into the water, then I'm going to add some frozen water bottles. So you can see this bowl's crazy hot. It was next to that. I'm going to stir this. This water will be changed pretty soon, including these water bottles to add more. Goodbye to these hops. They did whatever they did. Normally I like to leave them in, but I'll let them drain. One side of this has got a metal strip in it, so you can hold it on there like that. Don't want to lose this precious wort. It's extremely sugary, pretty much all from extract. But it is what it is. Making a beer quick. The hottest day in September almost ever. Okay. Call that that. to change the water very soon. I'm going to go dump. So with this cooling here, I've already changed these once. I might go for it one more time. Maybe you can see. I did re-switch the sink. Water's still pretty cold. Swap those out. This one too. I have a keg, a bunch of star sand in it. There's my auto siphon. They're sanitized almost. So let it sit a bit more time. Then this beer, which I've made a video on it, which I have to edit, is going to go in that keg with that priming sugar I made. And then that beer I'm making is going to go on that thick yeast cake. Let's have a look-see. There you go. This is that brown ale I made that all-grain video on, with the Halter hops and Cascade and a bit of Simcoe at the end. It's not as hoppy as I thought, but still very good. Yes, I'm still using picnic taps. Nothing wrong with them. Easy to clean. Cheap. So with the beer poured, and I'm still using that keg fridge, which also has the jug of cold water in it. On a day that's hot like this, wow, that's it. Okay, so I need to get this in there. So I can get all this star sand out. Probably hit the yeast cake. So what I do is stick this in there so it'll stay sanitized and whatever. So I got a funnel here which the star sand already went through. This keg is filled with star sand right now. As you can see, there was star sand in there by the foam. Okay, so now I can dump my dextrose solution in from my hanky pot. The most use I always find for it, that little one. Flip that over, let that sit in there. Grab the hose end, put it deep in the keg again. It doesn't splash. I'm going to lift up on this a bit. And there we go. I'm siphoning this beer. I'm not going to check gravity. I don't care. Put that there. Put the keg lid over it just to keep anything from falling in. Have a sip of this nice beer. And fast forward this, I'm sure, because it's boring. So as you see, that's a pretty full keg. You put the lid on, give it a little shake, just to get everything put in there, get this airlock back on there so nothing goes in there. That's fermenting my next beer. So I'll just give it a bit of a mix up like this because I just want to get some yeast action to push out the oxygen in there. This one doesn't have a blow off on the top, so it'll be pressing on the. You got beer coming out. Well, you know what? I think it's too full. It is what it is. It'll still be good. This is 3-degree, very cold water. This is still a bit warm, but I'll throw some of this in there. I don't want to shock the yeast too much, or more so the carboy. So there's a bit in there. I think I'll probably make it get too cold by putting this in, but I should just put regular tap water in. I'll put a guesstimate in. This will shock the yeast some, because it's going to say it's fucking cold. Just to make sure the temperature's not too hot in the end. Pull back a little bit at the end of the scum. Wasn't that much. You keep that. You need to bring it to about here for 5 gallons. That cleans the funnel up. There we go. That's beer. Give it a good mix around. It's already very aerated, as you see. Make sure everything mixes up.
He sat and
That
watched,
yeast gets kicked around everywhere.
about it, and he wondered why. His friends all thought that they could fly. You stupid lemmings, Joe would yell. You cannot fly, but still they fell. So Joe walked on over to look on down to see dead lemmings' flesh spread all over the ground. Hey now, Joe, what do you know?
Well, it's cooler than in
All
here.
your friends are dead in
Which
the
is like
cove.
23.
Hey now, Joe, where will you go?
Up she
Hunk a
goes.
mess of lemming flesh down in the cove.
I'm going to rest it there, next to the dehumidifier, next
Joe
to
stepped back,
some of the
plants and
Cascade hops I
seeds.
picked, and there's some
There's
cauliflower
no
on the bottom.
one left but only
This
me.
weekend,
He thought of his
this is sitting at
friends and the good
22,
times they had.
21 maybe. We'll see how
First
quick
he
it
laughed, then he was
picks up.
sad. What kind of
So
life
brewing this beer,
will I
putting it in
lead?
here,
I miss my friends
than
then.
an hour ago,
Suddenly, Joe
and the
turned
airlock
around,
is already moving.
picked up speed, then
So,
jumped.
This yeast is rocking and
Followed by
rolling.
real loud thump. Hey now, Joe, what do you know?